So with this shoulder, just kind of work it forward for me. Yeah, yeah. And now your head, you're going to tilt it this way. Perfect. And if you can, bring it around this way a bit. That's the hard part I was telling you about, because it can get a little...
We do this at yoga all
Good.
the time.
Then you should be fine.
I should be.
Hi guys, in this video I am going to let you watch the behind the scenes of my photo session with Rose. Today's video is sponsored by Too Close to Home Crime. Go check it out if you love true crime like I do. Now Rose is 72 years old and I just am absolutely smitten with her hair and her look, and I wanted to do some classic studio portraits using these amazing backgrounds by Mayhew, and he's an artist and I've always been completely obsessed with his backdrops. This is just one of them, and this other one here is my favorite. I did a self-portrait with it the other day, as well as another portrait of an older woman. What I wanted to do was just show you my lighting setup. Now this is my 4-foot Octa and it's feathered across her with a reflector. There's no light behind, but you can see she's about 4 feet away from the backdrop, which results in the backdrop being relatively dark. Now the closer you have your subject to the backdrop, then obviously the more light your backdrop will be. I'm going to get you to turn your head this way for me now. Turn, turn, turn. Turn, turn. Yeah, perfect. The top of your head now, you're going to tilt it towards the, yes. And now I want your chin up. Yeah, drop it just a bit, a little bit more. Right there, perfect. So now I'm just pulling the light further away from her. I want less light on her. Meanwhile, I'm still reflecting it back at her. And actually we'll move that in closer just for a little bit more fill. And this light now is much more full on her, which you can see now. Whereby if I remove this reflector, it's going to look much more Rembrandt-ish. And I'll show you that. If you want more of a Rembrandt look, then all you have to do is turn your reflector to the black side so that it absorbs that light, and put that right about there. And now we should have some beautiful Rembrandt light. Okay, turn your face this way a little bit, chin up a bit, right there. So that is more Rembrandt-y. I'm going to move this in closer. And now I'm going to move this light closer in to Rose. And I know you're probably going, oh my God, that's so close. Kind of claustrophobic.
I'm not.
And I'm going to dial it down from 3 to about 1.8, okay? So same thing, Rose, turn this way. Too much, come back. Yeah, chin up a little bit, right there. So now we should have a totally different look. Okay, turn your face that way a little bit. Yeah. And then your eyes, actually want you to look right here, right there. Beautiful. Chin up just a smidge. Down a bit, right there. Another thing you can do is put the bottom of your softbox as high underneath your subject as you can, and that results in another really, really pretty light source. Okay, eyes at me, Rose. Beautiful. Tilt this way a bit. Now that, guys, is spectacular. So yeah, so this is just going to be held like this. Yeah, and that looks freaking amazing, right? She's like, sure it does.
You're gonna make it look amazing. I don't know.
Bet your sweet
Because
bippy.
you already.
Oh, I already know how spectacular you're gonna look.
You're a magician.
I already know, my dear. The only thing we're missing on your décolletage there is a beautiful necklace.
I think yoga's the best for everything. I don't do
You're
stand
probably
on my
right.
head yoga, but like when you were saying, as we age, it's
So freaking regal, this woman, I tell you. Okay, love it. You're gonna tilt your head this way a little bit. Right there is perfect, my dear. I am going to come down a little bit. And so I'm shooting with a 4.5 aperture-ish. And this is absolutely stunning. Okay, I want you to turn your face and look at yourself in the mirror. Okay, see that? That pose right there? Chin up just a little bit more. Yeah, okay. That shows strength. And now just turn your face a bit to look at me. Just a little bit more. Okay, now look at me. Love that. Chin up a bit. And breathe out of your mouth. Yes, that's beautiful. Love that so much. And now you can drop your chin lower a little bit. Yes. Ah, come on, flash. Love that so much. You're gonna look right about here. Right there, my fingers. You're gonna twist your upper body this way a little bit, and then you're gonna bring your face back this way. Yes. Absolutely beautiful. So we just changed her hair again, altered her pose a little bit. Chin up for me, love. And then eyes towards me. You can move your face just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, and then tilt this way. Yes, perfect. And I'm sure everybody is really loving your sneakers.
yes, they are.
Yeah, because it's super comfortable not to have to take your pants or sneakers off when you get your portraits done.
I'm telling you, this is a selling feature right here.
Okay, lovely. Turn your face this way just a smidge. Yeah, but eyes still at me and tilt back. Yes, right there. Love that. So I'm just moving her very minutely, and I'm also changing my direction so that I get different shots. The only thing left to do with this now is to add a little bit of wind. Yes. Nope, just look straight ahead. Chin up a bit for me though. You can tilt the top of your head towards the back wall. No, sideways, hun. Other way. Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. No, you're good. You're good. So we're just trying to catch the wind as it fluffs her hair. So this is amazing, guys. So we just want, see that's a lot of wind now, but we're gonna try and get it. Tilt this way a bit. Breathe out of your mouth. Turn your face this way a little bit. Yeah, you can just push your hair, help it along there. Love that, that's beautiful. So I wanted to show you really quickly how to edit mature skin. So I know that a lot of people think that you need to just get rid of everything, and actually I would not recommend that. You know, if you look like this at 72, you should be pretty damn proud, right? So I'm just gonna really quickly demo how I retouch skin if I'm not painting it. So at the end of this video, I will show you a painted portrait that I did for Rose. She really wanted a heirloom piece for her family, so we did that. But painting obviously will remove a lot of the texture in the skin and the lines, etc. I will also show you a classic retouch that I did for her. Now, all of the images in this video thus far are just straight out of the camera, and you know, being that this was a lighting video, I really wanted to show you what it looked like straight out of the camera. And you know, working with mature skin can be challenging, especially when you're working with women that would really like to look younger. So all I essentially do is just reduce the contrast a little bit. I like the contrast in these images. Pull the shadows up a little bit. We don't want to get rid of the Rembrandt kind of light that we created by softening it too much. Pull the blacks up just a tiny bit. And essentially that would be about it. Now we do have in our color mixer, we have the point color, which can be really useful. So if we just grab this little eyedropper and we sample this color, we know that it's, you know, quite orange. And down here we can look at the hue, so you can change the hue. If you pull it to the right, it definitely goes more yellow green, and if you pull it to the left, it goes more red. So we're going to leave the hue at 0, but we are going to reduce the saturation a bit because we don't want her tan to be that extreme. We can also pull up the luminance a bit, which will assist with a little bit of the shadow areas in the skin, but that's probably about it. I do like the new point color. I find that it can target colors so good. And even in here, you can pull the luminance up on this slider here if you don't want to use the other one. But we're not going to pull it up too much because we don't want to change what we've already done. And if we zoom in on Rose's face, you can see there's a little bit of cleanup to do. We're just going to soften the lines. We're not going to get rid of them because we want to maintain the integrity. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop. This is an overskirt that I made, and I just tied it together with an elastic here, and I wasn't worried about it. I know probably a few of you were going, what the heck are you doing with that? But it's super easy to just adjust. So we're just going to really quickly come in here, duplicate our layer, go to our liquify tool, and in liquify we're just going to get rid of this bump. Something like that, and we can use a mixer brush just to smooth all of that out, which I will do all the time. And that's about it for liquify. We can just straighten out some of the tulle behind her, something like that. Okay, and yeah, super easy portrait. Just throw a piece of tulle over top of her, and you know, this stuff here I'm going to show you right now after I flatten and go ahead and duplicate this layer. I'm just going to grab one of my handy paint brushes. So we're going to come down to my painting set. We're going to grab our wispy edges brush. And yes, you can find these brushes on my website in my store. And all we're going to do is just blend this so that it's not so obvious. And if you don't know how to use mixer brushes and you would like to learn how to use these techniques in Photoshop, then make sure you join my platform, because we have tons of tutorials up there on painting and using the mixer brush. And all this is going to do is just smooth these areas. So we're just going to drag the tulle texture up, pull that over. We're also going to just smooth the seam in her top so it blends more, like so. And this as well, we're just going to pull this color up over top of the shirt so that you don't really see it. We don't want to get too crazy because this is not going to be a painting, so you can use these brushes super subtly, and they just kind of help blend things. That's why they're called mixer brushes, because they mix everything in together. Okay, and if you find that you have dark spots or something like this, that you don't like it and you would like to get rid of it, all you have to do is use your dodge and burn to really affect it, and then regular brushes as well, which I will show you. But this here, this is super easy. All you want to do is come in and really blend the fabric together so that it doesn't look, it looks a little bit more ornate, flowing, I guess would be a better way to put it. So once again, we're just mixing all of these tones and shades together. And if you go like this, you can paint away edges by pulling that darker color in, like so. If we go over top of the edge here, it's just going to soften that edge. And since I was shooting these at a relatively small aperture, not completely wide open, but not really super, this was an f4, not like an f8 or something like that, then there is a bit of fall off blur on her already. And then down here, we can very simply just drag this color in over here and get rid of these items that were part of the overskirt. You can pull this down so that it kind of falls down and blends in. And all you're doing with this brush essentially is just pulling, pushing other pixels and colors. So something like this, and we can just paint that away, as well as these little wrinkles here. Mixer brush is great for this. So you're not per se painting the portrait, you're really just using it to soften edges and blend the fabric together. I'm just going to make my brush a little bit smaller and come in and just soften that one wrinkle. Okay? All right. So now this is way better than it was before. You can take a look and you can see that we've painted that in. So we're just going to go ahead and flatten this, and I'm going to grab my frequency separation, duplicate your layer, frequency separation, which is in my retouch set. If you don't have a copy, go ahead and go get your own, click OK. And again, I'm using the mixer brush in frequency separation, but I'm going to use just a basic soft brush. And we're going to reduce, we're going to come over, grab our mixer brush again, because it always does that. Soft brush, and we're going to make sure that our load is about 50 and our wet is about 50. Mix doesn't matter because we're not mixing colors. And make sure that your pressure sensitivity is off and sample all layers is off. And you come in with this and you go pretty heavy-handed because you're going to reduce the overall opacity. But for older mature skin like this, I just come in and go super heavy-handed on the frequency separation and then just reduce it to suit. And that's how I find I get the best results, because you're definitely not going to want to provide anybody with an image that's this over edited. It would be ridiculous. But it's a really good base to work from, because all you have to do is reduce. And I just really wanted to share how I soften skin that is perhaps more textured than younger people. So this is just a really, really helpful way to oh so quickly offer a retouch that they would be happy with. You know, essentially what I find with my older clients like this is they love the fact that they're, you know, in their 70s or their 80s, which is great. So they don't want you to make them younger, but they do want all of the lines and all of the age spots and what have you to be softened, right? Kind of like a filter, right? I think everybody at this point is familiar with filters on their phones, and even, you know, older people, I think, generally prefer a little bit softening on their skin. So yeah, I just come in with my mixer and soften all the lines. I'm still trying to maintain the integrity of all the tones, so the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights. And then as far as her skin is concerned on her chest, you're just going to kind of blend the different tones into each other, because you see how her chest appears to be quite dark in relation to, you know, the swell of her breast. So, you know, obviously sun, right? And then on her arm, because a lot of this is tulle, we're not going to do too much on her arm. And then the hand, of course, we're going to go in the direction of her bones, which will just soften and not merge them all together too terribly much. Just a wee bit, like so. And that's all I do, guys. So let's just get this last hand really quickly. And then go to the top of your stack in frequency, and I typically will reduce this down to 40 to 50, something like that. So if you look at the before and the after, it's subtle, but it's softened a bit. Now you can play with your opacity and see what suits your subject better, but even that is, you know, it's better. Now you're probably wondering, well, what about the, you know, the shadow under her eyes and all that other stuff? Well, I will lighten them slightly, not too much, because remember, you do want to make sure that she still looks like her, right? I mean, this is definitely not a creative. This is classic portrait work. So something like that, we've softened her. And I know that she would be happy with that, so I'm going to keep it at 45%. I'm going to flatten it. And then all I would do after this is just your basic dodging and burning to, you know, shape and minimize some more of the lines just a wee bit, and even out overall skin tone colors, stuff like that. And that's about it. And I'll show you the final edit now. Okay guys, here is my final edit, and I'll just zoom in so that you can see. So you see that after all the retouching, I've still maintained the integrity of the texture of the skin, just softening it, and this is a classic portrait. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're interested in learning how to edit like me, you can always head over to my platform, link in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.